Hi everybody, it's another hot day and a hot topic to talk about in this month of July. And here we go, wings or feet? What do you make of that then? So hi to everybody out there. If you're just joining me, please do pop in a hi and say hello to me and tell me where you are and where you're calling from and what do you think? Do you improvise? And how does that work for you? Or do you prefer to write and plan it really well? And then do tell us how that's working for you as well. So if you're going to join the replay, welcome on board. Look forward to hearing your comments, and I will get back to all your questions and all the things you might be saying. Who's Christina and Jula? Hi, nice to see you there. Well, I can't see you, you see me, but you know, it's nice to know you're out there. And wings or feet? Now, how did I come up with that idea? Well, it all started with a question that somebody asked me, and they said, do you prepare writing a speech or a talk beforehand, or do you improvise? Which ones do you do? Which one do you do? And it made me think, because I think over the years, I've done both. And sometimes I combine both. And today, I think I'm going to do a bit of both because I've had to plan quite carefully for this Facebook Live, make my notes, which I've got here. So I should be peeping at them as well and looking to see, who is on board as well? Mia, hi, nice to see you, Mia. Yes, do you improvise or do you like to write your sales pitch, your promotion, your deals? What do you like to do? Do pop your comments below. Let me know what you're thinking and how you feel about it. Hi, Carolyn. Nice to see you there too. Looking and sounding great. Oh, yeah. Great. You like to prepare, yeah. But sometimes we do improvise. So let's get tucked into this topic because it really is an exciting topic. And I've got some notes. It's a kind of fun name for the business, isn't it? Wings or feet. And it really is about the way that we like to present ourselves when we talk to people and we want to sell something or have a good friendship with somebody, to build that friendship with somebody so that we can later sell something wonderful to them, something of value, one of our great offers. Do we write these sales pitches or do we improvise? Or do we do both? Let's see what everybody says. What does mean? I improvise mostly. Right. Well, let's see how that, and does it work well for you, Mia? Do you get good responses? Does it depend on who's out there? I mostly improvise. Right, let's see where that one goes. Okay, so in this live edition, I'm going to be posting it on my blog because I'm celebrating 52 weeks of non-stop blogging. And it's a great celebration for me, and it's very scary and very exciting. And I would like to share and show my appreciation to all my friends and fans and the sweet followers out there who've been giving me the ticks and the likes and making comments on my blogs. I really do appreciate it. And without you, I couldn't have done it. So many thanks to all of you. Sometimes it's the best way. I don't get nervous. Yeah, that works too. I understand that. So I've got my notes here, you see, so I'm reading and I'm improvising at the same time. But one of the things that I would like to do is to see everybody get their speaking skills sparkling and succinct and successful, the 5 S's. Speaking skills, sparkling, successful and succinct. So that, you know, when we do step up and speak, for whatever reason it is, we are heard, we are understood, and more important, we are believed. And I think that's something a lot of women strive for, you know, to get heard, understood, and believed. So, right, great to see you out there. So one of the things that I've learned in my many years in showbiz is that you cannot predict your audience. Your audiences are the most unpredictable people in the world, and it doesn't matter whether it's just one person 100 or 1,000. You just never know how your audience, viewer, listener is going to react. And that's the big problem. Life is unpredictable. You don't know what they had for breakfast that day, what they did last night, who they may have argued with, whether that bank statement came through in the morning. You just don't really know how your audience is going to react. And because of that, you need to have all the tools you possibly can have in your pocket when you're going out there promoting your business, doing a sales pitch. And it comes with experience, of course. We learn from experience many of these things. Julia says, people often think improvising is not honest, it's some kind of fiction. What do you think about that? Oh, I think improvising is something that's well worked. I don't think it's fiction. I think we have to really prepare ourselves to improvise. I think there's a lovely quote by Isaac Asimov: to succeed, planning alone is insufficient. One must improvise as well. Great writer. So, yeah, life is unpredictable. What do you do when your audience is unpredictable? When you see those signs of somebody talking to a stranger, taking out their phone, and they start to fiddle with their phone, when they start to fidget and look around, what do we do? How do we keep engagement and keep connection with our audience, whether it is 1 or 20 or 50? How do we keep that? Still bearing in mind that today our attention span is something like 9 seconds. That's something, isn't it? So what do we do? How do we keep our audiences engaged? And that's really where I'd like to start from with this discussion about improvising or being well prepared, because it does depend on many indices and many factors when we go out there and speak to people to share our offers and values. And I know that, you know, sometimes improvising is hard. It's not the easiest thing to do, and yet other people find writing the hardest thing to do. So it does require a certain amount of confidence and experience. And these are two things that you can't buy. You have to work on it. And I'll just tell you a little quick story that many years ago when I was in show business, you know, I used to play saxophone, and I had a regular job in a restaurant, which was a heartless task, I can tell you, because nobody really listened, but you were just playing the background music. And one night I went into the restaurant to do my thing, and there was a guitarist there, and the manager said, "Yeah, you got a guitarist, you can play together, can't you?" And we kind of looked at each other, a little bit hostile, like, what are you doing in my place? And the problem was that we'd never played together, we never rehearsed together, we had never prepared together. I had no idea what he played, what his style was like, and he had no idea what I did. So it caused some problems, and we couldn't play. He played flamenco. That's something you can't do with a saxophone, so it caused some difficulties. Anyway, we found a compromise. He played and I danced to the flamenco. So then we both got paid. And that's the whole point of the story, is that sometimes you have to compromise with planning and with improvising. And I see Crisula, my darling, lovely to see you here. Thank you for joining us on the radio. A combo of planning and improvisation has worked for me for 7 years now. Yeah, I think that's right. It is a combination is the key behind it all. However, in my blog post, I did talk about 4 major points about how do we prepare ourselves for, or how do we improvise in any situation. And one of the first things is that you have to really know your topic, know your stuff. You've got to know it inside out, like it is, like it was, like it is your sister. And what does that mean in detail? So it's all about, my phone. That stopped that. So how do we deal, so how do you get your audience engaged? That's one of the first things I think about. And it's very often about getting a really good hook line, a really good starting phrase. Could be a question. It could be a phrase, a really clever line phrase that captures the audience and makes them think, that's why I'm here. So you really have to look at your topic inside out, know it really well, so you can pick all the nuggets and all the little treasured bits. What is the theme? What is that first couple of phrases, the first phrase, the first sentence you're going to throw out in your sales pitch, in your promotion, in your talk, that's going to bring in the audience? What is that one line? So having a really hot hook line, I think, is very important. It's also important to look at the audience and feel the energy. As I said, you can't predict what that energy is. You know, in the music business, we used to have a band that would warm up the audience. Well, when we go to speak, there may be somebody, there may be a presenter who says a few things, who warms up the audience. But generally speaking, when you go out there, you don't have anybody to warm up the audience, especially if you're speaking with just one person. So one of the other things about being spontaneous in those situations is that you really need to have a few spontaneous lines in your pocket to pull out. So you actually prepare those spontaneous lines, because they must be things that you know really well. You must know your topic inside out, and then you can pull them out of the box, pull them out of your pocket, like a magic trick, so to speak. Anybody saying anything down there? No, that's fine. Okay, so the best advice on that really is know your audience. If you've got a chance, if you're doing a speech or a talk or a keynote, get there early, get there a few hours early. Find out from the manager, the event organizer, the person running the show, what kind of people are going to come? Who are they expecting? How many are they expecting? The gender, the race, the background. See how much you can find out. Go into the local cafe, the pub, the bar of that venue. See if you can meet some of the audience. Get talking to them. Present yourself to them. Get to know your audience by greeting and meeting beforehand. And if it's just one person that you're speaking to, Google them very well beforehand. Ask everybody their opinions. Get to know what they like, what flavour ice cream they eat. Really see if you can dig into what your audience, what your people that you're speaking to, what do they really want? What are they looking for? Why are they coming that night to see you? Talk to the members of staff. Get a lowdown on who's coming to dinner. So one of the other things that happens to many people who speak is they get those blank moments. What do you do in a blank moment? That is very often the time when you need to improvise, isn't it? So, hi, Joy, that's nice, thanks for joining. So what do you do when you get those blank moments? That's the most difficult, isn't it? I've been in that situation more than once, more than 3 times, when my mind just went blank. I prepared this speech. 15 minutes it was. I knew it inside out. I turned it into the magic of colloquial language. It was coming out of me like beautifully. I got on that stage. I went blank. I really just didn't know what was going on. I couldn't think of anything. I looked out at the audience. You know, in theatre, we call it the fourth wall. That's the one at the back there, you know. I looked out at that fourth wall and I started to think about what I was doing here. I mean, all this happens within seconds. And I started to think about my title. The title, what was the title of my speech? I went over the title, I repeated the title, and I paused. The magic of the pause. Vivica's just come on in now, and she loves the pause. So, but I'm definitely enjoying it when I know someone improvises. I remember in London when that speaker said he would ditch the prepared speech and rather speak from the mind. The audience cheered. Yes, that's absolutely true, provided you've got something to talk about. So when those blank moments come, you have to dig out that confidence, that self-belief. You really have to pause, and then the magic of a smile. You're breathing, you're smiling, You're just looking at your audience. They will understand if you tell them, my lines, they've slipped from me. I don't know where, I don't know what's going on. People are much more understanding than you believe, even in the corporate world. So the pause, the smile, admit it, repeat the title, wait until something comes in, and then you go for those well-rehearsed, spontaneous lines that you pull out of your pocket every time. Many of our important life events is improvised. What do you think is good to be aware that regarding our feelings to improvise? Yeah, feelings come into it, of course. Feelings, yeah. I mean, I think when you're speaking, you're not so much concentrating on your feelings. You're concentrating on what you know, getting all those words out and speaking clearly, getting your points across. Humor, and that's the other one I wanted to talk about. Humor, an essential on any stage and in life generally. And funnily enough, self-depreciating humor of the gentlest kind works very well. The British love it. The British are famous for it. Now, it doesn't always work, and not every culture will understand it, but everybody loves to shake up their facial muscles, to shake up their shoulders, to belly laugh. Everybody loves humor. And admitting that you've forgotten where you are or you can't remember your lines, and you can do that with a smile and a little funny joke somewhere along the line, will often get you through and back into what you're trying to say. So humor works really well. Just be aware of your audience and their sex and their gender and their race and cultural differences. You know, I remember a few years ago in Toastmasters, I did a speech for a humorous contest in Valencia, a division contest it was, with a lot of people. There were a big audience we had, and it was all about my experience as a scuba diver, and nobody got it. Nobody laughed, nobody got it. And instead of just stopping and engaging with my audience and trying to communicate with them and say, oh, you know, like you don't get my jokes, or trying something different, or just improvising, I just went gung-ho. I didn't respect my audience. I just thought to myself, oh, I'm going to finish this speech to the end. And that didn't work. That was not the way to go forward, and I really did learn. And people came and told me afterwards, why didn't you just let it go and improvise? And why didn't I? Because I didn't have the confidence. Yeah, that was one of the questions that somebody asked me earlier. They emailed me and they said, is it about confidence? Definitely. If you haven't got the confidence to stop and recognize that something's not working, or that you need to improvise, or maybe you need to go back to your planned speech, whichever way round it is, you do need a certain amount of experience and confidence, and the two kind of go together, don't they? So one of the things that I've learned over the years is whether you use your wings or your feet or a combination of both, we basically need both. We need to be able to improvise, and we need to be able to go by the book, go by what we've written. It is a combination, and it is being aware and experienced enough, and with enough courage and confidence to know when either of them will work. And I look regularly, as I'm sure you all do, at some of the great artists, comedians, actors, singers, soloists, violinists, even the great sports people that we see so often. They work hard. Discipline, repetition, masses of repetition. How do you get good? Repetition, discipline, hard work. And then comes experience. And when you know all of this, when you know your stuff really well, when you've got humour on your side, when you can deal with those blank moments, that somehow gels into this lovely mishmash of confidence that allows you to improvise freely. Because improvising just at the top of your head often causes inexperienced people difficulties. Don't you think? What do you think? How do you do it? Let me throw the question out to you. Do any of you like to improvise? Do you prefer to write your speeches? Do you have long speeches to write? What do you think? Any comments out there? I know that Vipika, you've done some speaking, public speaking, and you've been through that whole thing of preparing it and changing it and then adding some improvised bits as you go along because you see somebody in the audience. What do you think? Do you think that improvising is good? It's a combination, huh? It's a combination. But you stick your points down there, your comments down there. I'm going to go to another question that somebody asked earlier and that they emailed me, and this is yes, it says here the question: I often practice my improvisation like a plan B. How do I know when to bring them out? How do you know when to bring them out? Yeah. Well, if you're practicing your improvisations, then you've obviously got them pinpoint somewhere along in your speech or your presentation. And I think it is really all about looking at that audience and checking out who's engaged, how well engaged are they? Are they connecting with you? Are they really connecting with you? And if you see the distractions, then it is time to bring out those improvised treasures. That's what I've done. Another question from Christina: can improvising give more freedom to use body language and play with the voice, etc.? Yes, what a good question. Yeah, I think so. I think sometimes when people are really attached to their paper, like that, then they become a bit wooden. So letting it go does allow you to free up, and something special happens, and you say to yourself, let's go for it. Let's rock the rules, as I like to say, because I think it is about rocking the rules. We learn them. We learn all the rules, how to do this and how to do that, which road to go down. And then when we've learned them all, we've got to rock them off, get rid of them, bend them, shake them off, rock the rules, I say. And I think for many people it works. But, body language, so important. It can speak 1,000 words, especially the hands. As we know, here in Spain, hands are in great use. So, yeah, I think that's right, Christina. It does help you to relax more, to release more of the tension that you might feel. But then, depends how well you know your speech. Coming back to it, you might want to go back to what you've written because you have a particularly good ending, or you've got a particular data to reveal or points to make. It depends in many ways on the topic, I think. So, we got another question from Jula. The audience often improvises well in their reaction to our words. Probably that is one reason to respect the moment and wait. Pause for their response. Absolutely, that is so true. I think one of the other things that you can do when things are going a bit slow for you, you can't remember your lines, or you really do want to ditch that written speech, is to ask questions. And asking questions from an audience, especially a bigger audience, with 1 or 2 people in front of you, is much easier to ask questions. But when you've got a big audience, asking questions is quite skillful, because you need to ask gently and wait quietly for that response. And that means being confident. That means allowing for the pause. So if I say to my audience, do you prefer to improvise? Or do you like a well-written, prepared speech? And, people are shy to respond. They'll fidget a bit. They might look around. Who's got their hand up? Who's going to speak? So in that time, that's when you can improvise. That's a really good moment to improvise, while you're allowing your audience to absorb that question that you're using because you might have forgotten something, and allowing them to come up with the answers, because it takes a bit of courage to speak up, doesn't it? Not everybody likes to do that. They might like the question. They might even write it down. But will they have the courage to answer it? So I think asking questions to your audience is a really great way of getting feedback from them, engaging with them, making contact with them. And it shows your interest, because nobody likes being talked to. We like the feedback, we like the interaction, we like to communicate with each other. We like to know that that person who's talking is actually listening as well. So, yeah, isn't that right? So, one of the last things then that I'm going to say is rocking the rules. Absolutely. Wings or feet? Well, I think it's both. We use both, don't we? Depends on many of the indices that we mentioned earlier. And, you know, it does come from experience. It does mean some courage. It does mean, you know, being brave, going for it, just trying it out. You know, what's the worst that could happen if you try out something and it doesn't quite go the way you thought it would be? Well, that's life. Life is unpredictable, and so are most audiences. And it's really good to jump out of your comfort zone sometimes. Sometimes it's good to stay in it, yes, but it's also good to jump out of your comfort zone and try something new. Be brave, be confident, put on that confident face, that confident look. Hard work, discipline, that's all part of it. All of us out there trying to do our business, trying to make things work, writing our books, selling our beautiful things, our services, our products. You know, we're all out there, us entrepreneurs, trying to make an impression, an impact in this loud and crowded world. And so how we speak and how we present ourselves is really important. And one of the things that I do is I put together this little short intensive course, which I call WRP. You write it, you rehearse it, and you present it. And it's all a combination of writing it so that you know your stuff really well, because that's key, isn't it? You don't want to be going out there and not knowing your material, not knowing your product, not knowing your feelings, your message. You want to know it really well, don't you? Joy's got a comment here. If you genuinely forget your speech, would you apologize and read your notes? Apologies. I think you have to be careful not to apologize too much. Confidence, definitely. So let's say I've forgotten something. Like right now, I just read your lovely comment there, Joy. Thank you. And I've forgotten where I am. Yes, I would say, oh, I'm just distracted by that comment. 1 second, let me look. Yeah, what was I saying? What was I saying? Because I think people understand that, you know, you're human and they want to see you a little bit vulnerable. They want to see you human. And apologizing, well, you know, after all these years living in Spain, I don't do that sorry business too much nowadays. I think the English overdo it and the Spanish underdo it. So somewhere in between, I think will work. And as I was saying, so I have this WRP, this short intensive course, which is all about writing it, rehearsing it, and presenting it. And in that process of writing it, where you learn what your nuggets are, what your treasures are, what your real offer is, what your real value is, your purpose, if you like. By writing it, you get to understand it really clearly. And then you go into that rehearsal stage where you chuck out all the stiff language, the wooden phrases, and you turn it into the magic of colloquial language. And then you start to present it, which is where you put in the style and your own ideas and your own language of hands and gestures and facial movements and eye contact. So WRP, write it, rehearse it, and present it. And it's a short course that I'm offering, which you can find on my website, the 3 Ws, georgevargas.com. And anybody signing up for the first time will get my free ebook, which is full of all the tips and tricks of speaking in public. So if you want to know more, just pop your name down there or go onto the website and stick your name in there. You'll get that free ebook and we can chat. You know, it's always lovely to chat and hear what you've got to say on this topic. Put your comments below. Thank you so much for being with me today. My great friends, fans and followers, I really appreciate you coming on board. And if you're catching the replay, I still want to see your comments and what you think is, you know, is going on, because it's kind of strange, you know, you're talking to this screen and you see these people are there, but they're not there. So that's it for me today, really. Keep it short, sweet and sharp. And thank you, Mia. And keep it short, sweet and snazzy, as they say. Rock the rules. Try a little bit of both. Wings and feet. We need them both. We need our feet on the ground and we need our wings to fly. So a combination with confidence, courage, hard work and discipline tucked into those corners. Yes. And, you know, big greetings and huge love from this side of Spain to that side of Spain and anybody else from anywhere else who's going to join me later. Thank you so much for being on today and contributing, and let me know what you think. I really like to know. I shall get back to all of you. Huge love. Bye for now.